that I was trying to take the microphone out of its slot and I hit myself in the head. You couldn't make this up. There was a little sign on the screen of the TV that's in front of you that said, if you can't hear with your earphones, take them off. That's how the flight started. So he said, I'm going to go to the hospital now. This is the captain of the plane. He said, I'm going to the hospital now and we'll see how it goes. I'm going to leave and we're going to all get off the plane. So we all got off the plane, right? It was quite exciting. It was a departure that was furiously intent on getting out of the plane. And pretty soon then we sat for a very, very, very long time thinking of you. We thought of you the whole time. Anyway, it was an exciting day. It's been an exciting night. Is it night already? Yes, it's night already. So, but I want to make sure that you know that you're looking at the American Idol. And then we got another captain. And here's how it went. We went off and we sat around and I don't know what we did exactly, except, I don't know, I called my husband and said, yeah, that's what happened. He's got the flu now. I had it, but now he's got the coughing flu. You want to talk about that? How many of you have it? Or had it? Anyway, and then they said, oh, we have another captain coming in. He's coming in on this other airplane. He's going to jump off his plane and we're going to board you. And the short story to this is that we're here. Rows and flows of angel hair and ice cream castles in the air, feathered canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way, and now they only block the sun. They rain and snow on everyone. So many things I would have done, but clouds got in my way. I've looked at clouds from both sides now, up and down, and still somehow it's cloud illusions I recall. I really don't know clouds at all. Moons and Junes and Ferris wheels, the dizzy dancing way you feel when every fairy tale comes real. I've looked at love that way, and now it's just another show. You leave them laughing when you go, and if you care, don't let them know. Don't give yourself away. I've looked at love from both sides now. Win and lose, and it's still somehow it's life's illusions I recall. I really don't know love at all. Tears and fears and feeling proud to say I love you right out loud. Dreams and schemes and circus crowds, I've looked at life that way, and now old friends are acting strange. They shake their heads and say I've changed. Well, something's lost, but something's gained. You live it every day. I they don't know life at Well, I had a couple of things to tell you, in addition to the story about the captain. I thought I'd first tell you about the first bottle of Coca-Cola that was produced in 1886. Contained 9 milligrams of cocaine, which explains why our great-grandparents could walk to school uphill both ways, barefoot, in the snow. I've been thinking about what a doctor said. I heard this from a friend of mine. You know, a doctor saw a patient and he said, you know, your best bet is reincarnation. Before we do that, I thought we would go back for a moment to the sort of the beginnings of this journey of ours, mine and yours, into the great folk scare. And so I thought we'd think about Pete Seeger. I think we all need to think about Pete Seeger nowadays. So I thought we would sing this. Where have all the flowers gone? Long time passing. Where have all the flowers gone? Long time ago. Where have all the flowers gone? Young girls have picked them, everyone. When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn? That was wonderful, thank you. I called Joan Baez this morning because it's her birthday, I think yesterday. And, you know, I've known her, she and I have been friends for something like 60 years or more. It's more. And, you know, she used to tell me that she said I ought to sing this song of hers called, it goes, how long since I spent the whole night in a twin bed with a stranger? I'm in Florida where you understand these things. With his warm arms all around me. And I was online not too long ago and I saw that somebody misunderstood the words and they thought that it said, how long since I spent the whole night in a twin bed with the stranger, with the Mormons all around me? We're so glad you're here, because we've had sort of a bleak couple of weeks. Well, I'll be gone, here comes your ghost again. But that's not unusual, it's just that the moon is full, and you happen to call. And here I sit, and on the telephone, hearing a voice I'd known a couple of light years ago, heading straight for a fall. As I remember, your eyes were bluer than robin's eggs. My poetry was lousy, you said. Where are you calling from? A booth in the Midwest. 50 years ago, I brought you some books. You brought me something. We both know what memories can bring. They bring diamonds and rust. you straight into my arms, and there you stay, temporarily lost at sea. The Madonna was yours for free. Yes, the girl on the half shell could keep you unharmed. Now I see you standing there with brown leaves falling around and snow in your hair. Now you're looking out the window of that crummy hotel over Washington Square. Our breath comes in white clouds, mingles and falls to the air. Speaking strictly for me, we both could have died then and there. Now you're telling me you're not nostalgic. Well, give me another word for it. You who are so good with words and with keeping things vague. 'Cause I need some of that vagueness now. It's all come back so clearly. Yes, I once loved you dearly, and if you're offering me diamonds and rocks, I've already You know, I had this friend when the pandemic started. I don't know, have I been here lately? Did you see me when I was with the Crosby, Stills and Nash for the ASPC? It wasn't the ASPCA. What do you call it? The older people's group? AARP. We were here a few years ago, and it was a huge, I don't know where it was, but it was at the, I don't know what. Anyway, it was the last time actually that Richie Havens sang in public. I don't know if you were there, but it was very special. It was CS&N, and pardon?
We were there.
Oh, you were there?
Melbourne.
So, how's it been going? That's where Stephen and I decided, I mean, we've been friends since we had an affair in 1968, and it lasted long enough for him to write a song about me. And we decided at that show here in Orlando that we kept looking at each other and saying, what are we, chopped liver? We have to do something together. So we were on tour for a year and a half. It took us a few years to put that together after we were here. I'm not sure of the year. Do you remember when it was?
Sorry.
Well, you'll call me when you find out. So anyway, we were on tour for for a year and a half, and we did 115 shows in a year and a half. And we were on the stage every night, both of us, for the whole night, for the 2-hour show. And we each had one solo song. And what? Oh, yes. Oh, and at the end of the show, we sang Sweet Judy Blue Eyes together. Yeah. It was so sweet, I'm telling you. Anyway, wishing well, he's got the thing too that everybody else has. I hope he's getting better. I'm getting better. Right here in front of me. Here's a song from my latest album, the album is called Spellbound. It's the first time I've written. It's my 55th album.
That's almost as old as we are.
It's the first time I've ever written all the songs on the album. And it was nominated for a Grammy this year. That's it. Okay, this is from Spellbound. Rivers dance the canyon walls. Paintbrush nodded in the springtime. I could hear the bluebirds call. When I was a girl in Colorado, never come to harm. When I was a girl in Colorado, I could conquer anything. I could fly with wings of silk. Whisper, I could sing. Will you take me to the mountains before another summer ends? We can catch the outbound zephyr. We can travel like the wind. When I moved out to the desert, 40 years to lose my soul. Somewhere back there in her rivers, Colorado made me whole. When I go back to the mountains, I always find a windy hill. Watch the sunrise over Long's Peak. Ski those slopes and feel that thread. Will you take me to the mountains before another summer ends? We can catch the outbound zephyr. We can travel like the wind. When I was a girl in Colorado, I knew enough to fall in love. Like the bluebirds in the pine trees, like the Tad DeBrook. Stu Mindeman. I had, when the COVID started and when we were in lockdown, a friend of mine called me. In New York, we lacked, I think, the same thing every place. It was March, and suddenly we were not going anywhere. I hadn't had a vacation in about 40 years. Well, I've had small vacations, but nothing like months and months and months. But we went for walks, we had a good time. But my friend called me, a friend of mine called me, and he said, I'm having problems. I said, you are? We all are. What's yours? And he said, well, I can't stop smoking. And I said, do you want to? He said, no.
Oh, well.
So I said, well, if you really are serious about this, you have to go see my doctor because he's very good at this kind of thing. And he's non-judgmental and has a lot of tricks and so on. So he'll help you. So he went to see Dr. Brun, and Dr. Brun said, do you want to quit smoking? Judy said, you did it. He said, no, I don't. He said, well, why did you come here? He said, because I do everything Judy tells me. Which is not true. He doesn't. I tried, but he doesn't. Anyway, Dr. Brun said, well, you know what happens to any of us if any of us takes a cigarette into our bodies. God takes an hour of your life and gives it to Keith Richards. Helplessly holding her harlequin hours nearby, awaiting a word, gasping in glimpses of gentle true spirit, he runs, wishing he could fly, only to trip at the sound of goodbye. Wordlessly watching, he waits by the window and wonders at the empty place inside. Heartlessly helping himself to her bad dreams, he worries. Did he hear a goodbye? Or even hello? They are one person, they are two alone, they are three together, they are for each other. Stand by the stairway, you see something certain to tell you. Confusion has its cause. Love isn't lying, it's loose in a lady who lingers, saying she is lost and choking on her love. They are one person, they are two alone, they are three together, they are one for each other. They are for each other. Well, this is the time of year when I'm very sad because I don't have my son anymore. He died in '92. And, but my granddaughter loves this song, and I wrote it when Clark was about 16, I think. You know, you never know what's going on in people's lives. I mean, it's important not to remember that everybody's got something happening. I got a letter from. I wrote a song. I wrote a book about suicide after his death. And in those days, when he took his life, you know, he was sober. And then he wasn't. And, you know, alcoholism is one of the, and addiction, you know, they can come, they can go, they can stay. And so you never quite know. And why did it come as such a shock? I mean, it was a terrible shock and just about destroyed me and everybody around. But Joan Rivers called me a few days after his death, and she said, you know, she was in Las Vegas, in her dressing room, and of course she had lost her husband to suicide, and she called me from the dressing room and she said, you cannot stop working, because I had started to cancel everything. And she said, you can't do it, you won't get over this if you do. I usually don't talk about this, but his birthday is the 8th, a couple of days ago, and his death is in 2 days on the 15th. So, you know, it's strangely present. He would have been 65 now. I can't believe it. I had a lot to say to him. I can't tell you. But, you know, we think about him all the time. We talk about him all the time. His grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, his grandchildren always talk about him. So here's what I wrote about him when he was 16.
Please try to understand.
When you get what you need, I know you're gonna make it. You were born to the breeze. 16 years old, out on the road, trying to get to the Thank you. Well, I was lucky because I had 20 years of the bottle, and I didn't do many drugs, because I was afraid they'd interfere with my drinking. So we have to tell the stories, because what else are we going to do with them, really? So I've had anybody who needs to know this. Twelve-step programs work. And so 45 years I haven't had to do that. But it's an amazing life. It's also the reason that I can do what I'm doing. I was shot at the end, I'll tell you one day when you get me on my Facebook. I want to sing you the title song from Spellbound. Windy day in Honolulu, looking out beyond the hills, memories from times of heartache, lays of lilies, daffodils. Here I lighted like a bird upon the bright blue water shore, with my hope and with my nightmares, praying I could sing and soar. Dark dreams out of sunlit days, while I drank down rum and coke, burning dreams and crimson flowers, dancing on a thin tight rope. Spellbound, spellbound, spellbound. Birds of paradise were walking as though they were ancient stars. Bright wings flew along the beaches in their shimmering sarongs. And I thought when I would see them so content and so serene, how could I find that surrender I could fly? But I would scream, fighting out of beauty's trance, in the light of sand and water, knowing I could crawl the highways, finding my own kind of slaughter. Spellbound, you do, how you lived and danced in light, yearning to know what life knew, whittled down the drinking gone to whimper towards the sight of land, hungering to sail in water bright with promise deep inside. In these islands once I wept for the lost and for the found, surfacing in air and light. Now I live and I am spellbound, 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 Let's see. Where was I?
Spellbound.
Better than where am I?
Aw.
So many strings, so little time. Well, you know, I had this very intense upbringing because I will tell you the first time I was on stage. My father was a great singer and had a great career in the radio and also toured. At some point in the late,
Whatever.
when there are 2 centuries to do it, it's really hard to remember what happened.
We got it.
So it was in the late 30s and the early 40s that he'd started his radio career in Seattle. He met my mother on a bus in Seattle. My father was blind from the age of about 4, and he was a remarkable man. He went everywhere without a dog, without a cane. He was determined, you know, that he was going to do it all his way. And so he would tour, of course, and he was touring in that part of the year. And he did this for about 3 or 4 years, I think. I have all the letters he wrote sitting in the back seat of the car, whether it was my mother driving or his driver, Glenn, who drove him all over the country, all over the Northwest, basically. And but I got to be on the tour with him when I was 3. First of all, I was still the only one of the siblings because I was eventually the oldest of 5. But at that point, I was still, you know, I could do anything. And I had my own place in the back seat. And so we got to Butte, Montana, and my father was doing a show. And then he said, "Do you want to sing something?" And I said, "Oh, you know, my pinafore and my braids," and just dazzled by the whole idea of getting on the stage. And I said, "What should I sing?" He said, "Why don't you sing something you know?" So I sang, "I'll be home for Christmas. You can plan on me. Please have snow and mistletoe and presents on the tree." And everybody was just wild. They loved it. And it was also April. So, so anyway, I was soon playing the piano all the time. I wanted to do what he did. I wanted to sing all the songs. And he made his living singing the Rodgers and Hammerstein, the Great American Songbook, which we used to call that, but now we call it the Rod Stewart Songbook. Wrong knob. Oh, it's really... I thought we were fine. They were getting along really well. So, well, I'll tell you my Christmas story. It's not April yet, but what the hell.
It's the humidity.
I think that's right, probably is. Or stupidity, one or the other. Thank you for getting me off the hook. Or off the fret. Yeah, I know, very bad. So there's this little boy. Since we missed Christmas together, I have to tell you this. This little boy who was about 6 years old, and he wanted to talk directly to God because he mistrusted his parents and also Santa Claus. He'd had bad experience with both. So he wrote on his little computer, he wrote to God, "Dear God, I'd like to have that 7-speed bike, and it's green, and I love it, and it's on eBay, and I'd like to get it for Christmas. So if you get it for me, I'll be good for a year." And then he hit delete because he knew that was not possible. So then he started again. He said, "Dear God, how about 6 months?" And then he hit delete again. And then he saw this little statue of the Virgin Mary on his mother's desk. And he picked her up and he put a beautiful scarf around her and put her in a shoebox and went to the closet and put her way back in the closet and slammed the door. And he came back and he said, "Okay, let's start again. Dear God, if you ever want to see your mother again..." Okay. In my cowboy boots and my Levi's, hair hanging down my back, driving that 53 Chevy, rolling down that mountain track, through a couple back at the Stanley, drinking with a long lost friend. Back in the car, spinning my wheels, cutting through that dusty wind. I didn't see it coming, hell on wheels, carrying a heavy load. I didn't see it coming, hell on wheels, nowhere to go. The gravel and the grit of my past, trailing in the rearview mirror. The only house for 20 miles, I was getting nearer and nearer. I saw 2 little children sitting in the dirt, missed them by a mere few feet. Their arms reaching out for daddy, sleep, I didn't see it coming. Hell on wheels, carrying a heavy load. I didn't see it coming. Hell on wheels, nowhere to go. Out of the house he got me out, and I'm calling the cops on you. Waving his fist as a gun, that car down the road, breaking through. I pray for those children every day, innocent babes they were. If I was going just a little faster, we would have been gone for sure. You never see it coming, hell on wheels. You always think you're in control. Someday you realize you're hell on wheels. You know you have to go slow. Didn't see it coming, hell on wheels, carrying a heavy load. Didn't see it coming, hell on wheels, nowhere to go. Okay. Live on the edge. Whoops. I'd like to dedicate this to King Charles and his girlfriend, the Queen. Should I say she once had me? She showed me room. Isn't it good Norwegian wood? She asked me to stay and she told me to sit anywhere. So I looked around and I noticed there wasn't a chair. Drinking her wine, we talked until 2, and then she said, it's time for bed. She told me she worked in the morning and started to run. I told her I couldn't crawl off to sleep in the bed. This bird had flown. So I lit a fire. Isn't it good Norwegian wood? was having dinner the other night with Peter Yarrow. We've known each other, you know, for 60 years, 61, 62. You know, I started going public with this thing when I was 19. So I had a few songs, and my husband, my starter husband, he took. Maybe you have one, maybe you know one, maybe a big one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I had, you know, we get together. We always talk. And, you know, I got there into New York in 1961, and I was the headliner at a place called Gertie's Folk City. I don't know if you know it. And it was on Bleecker Street in West 4th. And it was a little charming place, you know, well, not so much. No, it was not as charming as it might have been, but everybody was there. It was a night I was opening, and had this, you know, I was supposed to be the headliner. And so I looked around the room, and everybody was there. Peter and Mary, and of course Pete was there, and very many people. And I thought, oh, they're all here to see me. And then I realized that my opener was a 13-year-old named Arlo Guthrie. And so, and then I turned around. There was Mr. Dillon. He had by then changed his name from Robert Zimmerman, but I had known him in Colorado when he was Robert Zimmerman, and he was homeless already. And he was trying to get a place to stay and so on. And he used to come and see me in Central City, which was my second job after I started getting paid for this. When my husband told me that we didn't have any money and I had to go to work. He said, why don't you get a job doing something you know how to do? You were doing it for all these years before you met me. And so why don't you go out and I didn't know, nobody knew you could get paid to sing folk songs. I mean, it's interesting that actually the great folk scare sort of started before we think it did, because the Weavers had a huge hit in 1950 with Irene, good night, Irene, you sex machine. I bet you didn't know that. So, anyway, Peter and I were talking about all of this, and he was managed by Al Grossman, and Al was a friend of mine. You know, he put together Peter, Paul, and Mary, and he also said to me, you know, we're going to put you in a trio of girls. That'll be nice, won't it? And I said, sure. He said, we'll get you brown contact lenses because the other two girls have brown eyes. It was the 60s. What can I tell you? But anyway, Grossman was a friend of mine from the old days in Chicago at the Gate of Horn. And he was great. And he called me one day and he said, we're going to have a party at my house. I had already recorded Dylan by the time he started writing Blowing in the Wind and all those other songs. And so he called me in 63 and he said, and I had already recorded, fare thee well, my own true love. And at dinner the the other night, Peter sang, oh, and don't you remember, riding on a train going west, I fell asleep for to take my rest. I dreamed a dream that made me sad concerning myself and the first few friends I had. I have to cough, hold on.
We do too.
So I said, well, did you know, we always discover, all these years we've known each other, and every time we get together we discover things that we hadn't talked about. And I said, did you know what that song was originally? He said, no. I thought it was his. I said, no, it's originally by John Martin, English writer, who wrote it, and it was called Lady, who was what was the guy who there's a book about him called The Man Who Ate His Books. His Boots, not his books. His Boots, The Man Who Ate His Books. Lord, who just went on to, whose ship was lost and he was never found, and his wife, Lady Franklin, that was what it was called. Lord Franklin's Lament. And Lord Franklin's Lament is the same melody, but Dylan took the melody and put it, you probably didn't want to know all this, but I
It's okay.
but I trust you, so you won't go to TikTok or anything else like that. Anyway, so we talked a lot about Grossman that night because because Peter knew him so well, and he did a lot for them and with them. So Albert called and said, would you come up to the house in Woodstock? We're having a party. And I went. And he said, bring your suitcase and so on. So I went, and it was, as you know, I didn't do too many drugs, but I did a lot of the other things. So I was probably passed out. It was a nice party. Don't get me wrong, it was nice. What I remember of it. And so I was about halfway asleep, and I woke up about 3 a.m, and I heard this voice coming up the stairs. Ooh, ooh. So I got up out of bed and put on my terry cloth robe and crept down the steps. And I sat on the bottom step, and in front of me was this closed door. And Mr. Dillon was writing this song. Though I know that Eve's empire has returned into descent, vanished from my head, left me blindly here to stand, but still not sleeping. My weariness amazes me, I'm branded on my feet. I have no one to meet, and the ancient empty streets too dead for dreaming. Hey, Mr. Play a song for me. I'm not sleepy, and there is no place I'm going to. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. In the jingle jangle morning, I'll come following you. Take me on a trip upon your magic swirling ship. My senses have been stripped, my toes too numb to step. Wait only for my boot heels to be wandering. I'm ready to go anywhere. I'm ready for to fade into my own parade. Cast your dancing spell my way. I promise to go under it. Let me hear you now. Hey, Miss a song for me. I'm not sleepy, and there is no place I'm going to. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. In the jingle jangle morning I'll come following you. Then take me disappearing through the smoke rings of my mind, down the foggy ruins of time, far past the frozen leaves, the haunted, frightened trees, out to the windy beach, far from the twisted reach of crazy sorrow, to dance beneath the diamond sky with one hand waving free, silhouetted by the sea, circled by the circus sand, with all memories and fate driven deep beneath the waves. Let me forget about today until tomorrow. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. I'm not sleepy, and there is no place I'm going to. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. In the wind and sun, I'll come on. One more time. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. I'm not sleepy, and there is no place I'm going to. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. In the jingle jangle morning, I'll come following you. In the jingle jangle morning, I'll come following Thank you so much.
Oh, she's coming.
Come on in.
Oh, sometimes I remember the old days when the world was filled with sorrow. You might have thought I was living, that I was all alone. In my heart the rain was falling, the wind blew and the night was falling. Come back, I'm all you ever known. Open the door and come on in. I'm so glad to see you, my friend. You're like a rainbow coming around the bend. And when I wanna you can fill in the blanks.
It's all right. It's all right.
What I'll give you since you've asked is all my Take the rugged sunny days, the warm and rocky weather. Take the roads that I have walked along, looking for tomorrow's time. Peace of mind. As my life spills into yours, changing with the hours, filling up the world with time, turning time to flowers. I can show you all the songs that I never sang to a man before. We have seen a million stones lying by the water. You have climbed the hills with me to the mountain shelter. Taken off the days one by one, setting them to breathe in the sun. Take the lilies and the leaves from the days of childhood, all the willow winding paths leading up and outward. This is what I give, this is what I ask you for. Nothing more. I danced in the desert when I was but 20. I sang to mirages, made love to the wind, drank from the springs, climbed the blue ridges. I walked and I wandered, I prayed and I sinned. I drank from the springs where the secrets were hidden. I spoke with the healers, knelt under their wings. My heart hollowed out to a whistling whisper that spoke to me only of winter and spring. Arizona of starlight and tumbleweed, where antelope climbed the ravines. You healed all the wounds that were hidden and left them for all to be seen. The chimes in the wind and the songs in the twilight, the feel of soft sand and the fingers of dawn, the feathers of light in the windows of heaven, the hush of their songs as they climbed and were gone. Back here in the desert, I find myself flying out of the canyons where I was so free, gathering speed as I raced to tomorrow, remembering the songs of the wind and the sea. Arizona of starlight and tumbleweed, where antelope climb the ravine. the canyons would lead. The colors still shimmer like silk in the water, no matter how far my heart flies. My dark years are gone and the old dreams move on, but I see the moonlight still clear in your eyes. The love of my life came late in the journey, the promise, the jewel, the prize. And now on the desert, the cactus are blooming, their colors light up the white skies. Arizona of starlight and tumbleweed, where antelope climb the ravines. You healed all the wounds that were hidden and left them for all to be seen. I ride along now to the dawn on the mesa that shows me the cactus that bloom in repose, flowering only in spring like the lilies, blossoming after the blizzards and snows. And I can see clearly the promise they made me when raising their eyes to the dawn, that none of the magic is gone, that everything sings and moves on, that nothing forgiven is done. Arizona of starlight and tumbleweed, where antelope climb the ravines. You healed all the wounds that were hidden and left them for all to be seen. Where all of the dreams of the searchers are hidden, where all of the shards of the broken hearts lay, I wait in the dawn for the hand I was given, and finally I know what the canyons would say. You must fly from winter to May. You must fly from the past into today. That was Tad the drum. Let's see. Time to do this. Oh, sorry, I left such a mess over there. I love you guys. You're great artists. Fabulous artists.
We love you.
Isn't it rich? Are we a pair? Me here at last on the ground, you in midair. Where are the clouds? Isn't it bliss? Don't you approve? One who keeps turning around, one who can't move. But where are the clouds? Send in the clouds. Just when I start opening doors, finally knowing the one that I wanted was yours, making my entrance again with my usual flair, sure of my lies, no one is there. Don't you love farce? My fault, I fear. I thought that you'd want what I want. Sorry, my dear. But where are the clouds? Quick, send in the clouds. Don't bother, they're here. Isn't it rich? Isn't it queer? Losing my timing this way in my career. But where are the clouds? There ought to be clouds. Well, maybe next Plaza live, and on the sound, Mr. Matt Sabin. We had an opportunity to do an incredible show a couple of when was it? Oh, yes, it was December 2nd. I remember now. And it was a salute to John Lennon. And I have, I recorded What did I record? In my life, no. There are places I remember all my life, though some have changed, some forever, not for better, some are gone, and some remain. All these places had their moments with lovers and friends. I still can recall. Some are dead and some are living in my life. I've loved them all. And it was a wonderful gathering, of course, and Graham Nash was there, and he called me up a couple of days before, and he said, would you sing Imagine with me? And I said, okay. I never knew the song, and I had to, brainstorm and focus for half of the show, trying to get it in my mind. And but then that afternoon, into the theater, we were at Town Hall in New York, and in walks Art Garfunkel, and he said, I want to sing. And so we did a trio of this song. And I don't know if it'll ever see the light of day, because the only people that heard it were at Town Hall, but it was pretty hot. So we thought we'd give you a chance.
Yay. Yes. More.
Imagine there's no heaven. You can sing it with me. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people. Imagine all the people living for today. Living for today. Imagine there's no countries. Imagine there's no country. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. And no religion to living life. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. Sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. But I'm not the only one. join us.